How great of a risk is it that we're currently seeing to our religious liberty in this country?
Before we determine what a threat to religious liberty is, we have to establish what religious liberty even means. Because to hear these people tell it, religious liberty seems to give their religion precedence over every other matter that could possibly be raised. And that's 8 completely different flavors of not the case. Let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers. Bionic Dance here. Today we have right-wing radio host Mark Levin talking about just how in danger civil liberty is in the United States. Of course, he's spewing self-serving rhetoric straight out of his fart box. Let me explain just how that is. Here we go.
You often hear people say, and the media will get confused by what I say because they're not particularly bright as a group. You'll hear people say separation of church and state. Right. Now, hold on now. No, separation of church and state is not in the Declaration. It's not in the Constitution.
This is a trick religious whack jobs just love to use. Because the exact words separation of church and state don't appear in United States documents, then it must not be part of U.S. law. Well, you know what other phrase isn't in the Constitution? Religious liberty. Just saying.
There's a reason why there's a free exercise clause in the First Amendment, and there's a reason why the other clauses in the First. The federal government is not supposed to establish a religion.
More than that, though, the government is not supposed to pass any laws based on religion. The Establishment Clause protects against religion's intrusion into government, while the Freedom of Religion Clause protects against government's intrusion into religion. The Establishment of Religion Clause of the First Amendment means at least this: neither a state nor the federal government can set up a church, neither can pass laws which aid one religion, aid all religions, or prefer one religion over another, neither can force nor influence a person to go to or to remain away from church against his will, or force him to profess a belief or disbelief in any religion. Neither state nor federal government may pass laws which aid one or all religions or prefer one religion over another. Seems a rather important distinction. The two clauses are essentially one provision for preserving religious liberty. Both parts, no establishment and free exercise, are to be comprehensively understood as being in the service of religious liberty as a positive good. If this does not establish what religious liberty is, I don't know what will. You're free to worship as you choose, and the government cannot interfere, but it also has a duty to make sure that your religion does not interfere either. Worship as you choose, but stay out of everybody else's business.
We know what they meant. They told us what they meant.
Oh?
What they meant by that is a theocracy.
No, clearly they meant religion intruding into government and vice versa. But so what if they did mean a theocracy? By passing law after law and forcing religious doctrine on everybody, aren't you trying to establish a theocracy piecemeal, bit by bit? How are we to prevent that if not by blocking legal enforcement of dogma law by individual law?
What we have now, though, is the federal government as a religion. Right. Secularism has become a religion.
What does that even mean? You hear them say things like that, but it just sounds like empty rhetoric. If you look up religion in the dictionary, yes, there is one definition that might fit. Something one believes in and follows devoutly. But that's nothing like a theist religion, with deities, devotions, damnation, and dogma, and to conflate the two is obviously disingenuous dissembling. But how is the state a religion? Sure, there are people who believe in and follow our country. It's called patriotism. You may have heard of it. But to say it's a religion and to imply that it's supplanting yours, that makes no sense, except as an excuse for imposing victimhood upon oneself. But what else can you expect from a religion based around a martyr?
And just as in Muslim countries they have these Sharia courts to enforce Sharia law, well, we have a Supreme Court that exists to enforce, apparently, secularism.
And it's a damn good thing we do, too. Otherwise, we'd have that theocracy you were talking about earlier. And there's no guarantee your religion would come out on top. But the thing is, the Supreme Court is nothing like Sharia law, because as Sharia is employed today, it not merely enforces, but also imposes Islam upon the populace, backed by threats of torture and even death. To compare this with the Supreme Court is a travesty that would be hilarious if people weren't no shit taking it seriously. The court is not imposing secularism, it's merely ensuring that no religion intrudes upon the lives of those who do not follow it. That's all. Yes, this means that sometimes people who follow one religion will have to make accommodations for those of another religion or those of none, and vice versa. And when there is a conflict, yes, secularism must take precedence because it is the only way to be fair to everybody, or at least to be unfair to the fewest. And to call that a secular religion and to compare it to Sharia law, that's complete bullshit. It's obvious incitement. It's just so... People not subscribing to Bionic Dance is one sign of the apocalypse. Save us all. Subscribe now.